It's really good to see everyone here. And I have a lot of things to say, so I'm going to make it really quick. First, I just want to address the community. As far as reminding ourselves that this is nothing new, that we've been dealing with this border since 1848 with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo and Juarez, Tijuana, those were traditional crossing areas. And so what they did was crack down in those areas, and all of that was funneled through here. And I was a baby around that time, but for the older folks, I think you can remember that that's pretty much the timeline of when we started to see this increase in changes. And we do have a lot of concerns, especially those who are my age. I'm 28, and we feel like we're the last generation to really know what it feels like to be free, or to move freely on and off the nation. Because anyone that's younger than us, the kids, now they don't have that mentality, that freedom to move. And I've seen it in my own nieces and my own family, the kids talking to different elders about this situation. We need to remind ourselves that, there's a difference between people who are traveling and the people who are actually committing crimes. As far as the drug smuggling, and he wanted me to remind everybody that, as Tohono, us living here in the desert, we're survivors. And we have that survivor mentality. We have a lot of questions, but I don't see us looking towards our own selves for the answers that we need, especially towards our own leaders in this question of sovereignty. So I do have some specific questions. I have 6 questions, and number 1 is can you please explain the differences between reasonable suspicion and probable cause, and how that affects a decision that an agent makes? If this is still in effect, the Constitution free or Constitution light zone 100 miles in from the border, and how that affects us if it's still relevant. And also, I think this question would be more directed to our legislative representatives. How does the nation keep logs of incidents? And how is the nation also protecting or advocating on behalf of the people, on behalf of the Haudenosaunee? Are there advocates available to help people understand what I know the shadow wolves are under ice. I support the shadow wolves. I think they do their job, and they always do it in a respectful manner. Any kind of religious. I was talking to Father Panchi, and he was concerned about how they're not allowed to cross the border to attend burials or to do specifically, I want to put these resolutions out there because I think they hold a lot of power to them. Resolution 98-063, which is the recognition and right to pass and travel freely. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore.
One of my questions is Border Patrol involved in bugging our homes, putting cameras in our homes?
Yeah.
Here's what happened. Just a little story here, how I come to find out. I didn't know nothing what was going on. And I just want to say that Border Patrol and law enforcement has me on surveillance. And nobody told me this. It's just I learned this through observation from over a year ago. And I thought, are they using the phone to listen on our conversation? There's things that are happening. I know we are people that we've never had problems on our land here. We are the landlords of this land that was given to us by our Creator. And you have mentioned respect. And I don't know the total point what's going on, but I watch it, especially over here, the laughter, the eyes of hate. Sometimes I'll just slow down when they're tailgating. I'll just hold aside, let them go, or slow down.
And they will stand by and just be safety and cover, be as a cover homes committing a border-related crime such as harboring or
why is it that when an individual like myself gets caught into secondary, I'm pulled out of my vehicle, told to step to the side, while another agent is going through my vehicle without asking, whether it's with the dog or not, and another agent is speaking to me, asking me questions about my whereabouts, even up to how I make my living. So that's my question, whether, if this is a true statement coming from the ACLU, then why is it that Border Patrol agents are doing that?
I wasn't there. I can't speak for the agents. I don't know what they saw, I don't know what questions they asked or what you
Must
answered.
be a environmental impact that I've noticed that's grown.
It's been over 20 years now that we've been crying out to you all, and it's still the same. When that vehicle comes with that load, your adrenaline just starts, and you're like, how dare these people come through our community? How dare they make that money and get here? I'm struggling trying to live my life, not only for myself, but for my
A lot of
family.
incidents at the checkpoint on Highway 86. And a lot of times I'll ask for a supervisor. One specific time, the supervisor was standing right there by an individual who wouldn't give me his name. I was pulled over into secondary, and I asked why, and he just said, it's pulled over to secondary, you can't, I'm happy to give you a reason. I believe I brought this incident up at the last town hall meeting. That's when my vehicle was vandalized, right there at the checkpoint, and they searched the vehicle without me giving them possession to. The individuals were speaking to me in Spanish, the agents, and I told them I didn't speak Spanish, but they just continued to speak to me in Spanish. And then they searched my vehicle, and I told them not to, and then their response was they didn't speak English. I was over to secondary, and I asked why, and asked for their names, and the agent, it was a canine agent, the other agents that were there told me that the reason why he was searching my vehicle was because, even though I didn't give him permission to, was that he was deaf and he couldn't hear me when I was telling him not to. A list of other incidences, involving, criminal activity. One of my friends was assaulted there at that checkpoint, and complaints were made. It was actually recorded, that whole incident, and nothing was ever done about that incident. He told me that there was an incident where he only knew one incident where a person was actually reassigned. Like the last person who asked the question is having more transparency. What happens when you file a complaint? When you file a complaint, I know that something is done to that agent. Like I said, some of them are very serious. Like they're
Who's the agent that you speak about, that you complained about many times in family
Oh,
members?
that's another thing. I asked his name, and he won't give me his
Well,
name.
one of the things that is of concern to me, and I know a lot of tribal members, along with the tailgating and things of that nature, is the speed. That's just something that happens a lot. I think only one time I saw a Border Patrol, a group, maybe 2, 3, going the speed limit, and it was such a shock to me because it was against the norm.